I'm Maggie, a 35-year-old nurse, and my husband Jason is 40, working in the corporate sector. Our daughter Emily is about to turn 4. For a long time, we were a happy family of 3, but recently, everything changed in unexpected ways. Jason and I met nearly a decade ago. We both left our hometowns to attend college and ended up working in the city. Introduced by a mutual friend, we immediately clicked due to our shared background and soon started dating. As our relationship deepened, we began discussing our future, including our desire to return to our hometown one day. So, when Jason's company offered a transfer to a branch in our hometown, we saw it as the perfect opportunity. I left my job at the hospital, and we moved back home together. We settled into our new house, conveniently located within a 30-minute drive from both our workplaces and Jason's parents' home, while my parents lived just under an hour away. Thankfully, I quickly found a new nursing position, allowing me to continue my career and maintain a busy yet fulfilling routine. After getting married, we faced challenges with starting a family and felt the weight of expectations and anxiety from those around us. Despite this, our relationship remained strong and steady. Then, after 3 years, we were finally blessed with a child. When Emily was born, Jason was overwhelmed with emotion, tears streaming down his face as he said, "Maggie, thank you so much. You've done an incredible job. Our life is going to be so much more vibrant now. No more loneliness." We had relocated from our college town to begin our new life here, and Jason may have felt more isolated than I did. This place isn't his hometown. He was actually born and raised in a neighboring state. His parents had moved here after he started college, so his childhood home is over 3 hours away, a distance that makes casual visits with old friends difficult. Moreover, Jason had to give up his soccer hobby because he couldn't find any teammates here. I understood the stress and loneliness he might be feeling, but I'm not sure if I was attentive enough. I was juggling most of the housework and working hard as a nurse, even during my pregnancy, leaving me with little spare time. Consequently, we rarely had moments to spend together as a couple. When we discussed our future, I realized that my well-intentioned efforts to ease his burden by taking on all the housework had backfired. Jason wanted us to share these responsibilities, but I had been refusing his offers to help, thinking it would be a burden to him. Reflecting on it now, it seems silly to have viewed it as a trouble. Jason is a social person, and by declining to help with chores, I unintentionally hindered his chances of making friends. To address this, I spoke with my boss about being exempt from night shifts for a while so we could spend more time together. I was prepared to change jobs if necessary, but my request was granted without much resistance. In our rural area, it's expected for women to handle housework and childcare, so mothers with young children are typically not required to work night shifts. Though I'm frustrated by these outdated norms, I try not to let it affect me too much. Jason faced teasing for being a modern dad just for taking Emily to her checkups and vaccinations, but we chose to ignore it. As Emily grew and began reaching new milestones, we celebrated each development together. 4 years passed in what felt like the blink of an eye. However, recently, I've become increasingly concerned. Jason's behavior has grown strange and distant. When I try to talk to him, he either ignores me or responds with short, disinterested answers. His enthusiasm for spending time with Emily has waned as well. He's been taking her to his parents' house more frequently and has stopped playing with her outside near our home. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but the situation has only worsened. Jason has ceased doing any housework or helping with childcare and has been isolating himself in his room. He's been coming home late during the week and going out aimlessly on weekends. Emily has also become more reserved with him. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this is having on our daughter, but Jason seems unwilling to discuss what's going on. What should I do? This situation is not healthy for Emily, and I'm at a loss for how to address it. After much reflection, I decided to cut back on my working hours to focus more on housework and childcare, hoping that Jason might be too exhausted to contribute. As Emily grew, I gradually increased my hours and even started taking evening shifts. Although I discussed these changes with Jason, our opportunities for meaningful conversations have dwindled, and he might feel overwhelmed by the shift in our routine. I realized I needed to return to the routine of coming home early, enjoying family meals together, and spending quality time with my family, just as we used to. I spoke up and successfully switched back to daytime shifts. I have been putting in extra effort, preparing meals from scratch instead of relying on pre-made options. But despite these changes, Jason's behavior hasn't improved. He doesn't initiate conversations and responds with disinterest when I try to talk to him, often avoiding eye contact. When I ask if he's tired or if something is troubling him, he simply replies, "Nothing in particular." As a result, I've stopped engaging more than necessary. Although I sense that something needs to be addressed, I'm at a loss for a solution. Now, Jason is about to take a long break from work. At his company, employees take turns taking about a week off after busy periods to use up their vacation days. I had hoped to use this time for a trip or some leisure activities with Emily, who has become more understanding. However, not wanting to add to Jason's stress, I decided against it. Instead, I suggested ways he might relieve his stress. "Do you have any plans for your upcoming time off?" I asked. "Nothing in particular," he responded. "How about visiting your old classmates or maybe going on a trip with your parents?" I proposed. "Yeah, maybe I will," he replied, sounding non-committal. On the day Jason was supposed to leave, he departed without a word. He returned a week later, and though I had no idea where he had been or who he had been with, his expression seemed somewhat lighter, which was a small relief. Since then, he has been spending more nights away, leaving on Friday nights and not returning until Monday, heading straight to work from wherever he goes. I still don't know what he's up to or where he is. He might be reconnecting with old friends or exploring a new hobby. Our conversations remain sparse, but since he doesn't appear to be in a bad mood, I'm choosing to observe rather than confront. Not long after, I fell ill and went in for a checkup at the hospital. At work, my blood test results came back concerning, leading to further testing, which revealed a malignant tumor. I felt a strange sense of relief that it was caught early due to a routine check. The doctors believe it can be removed with endoscopic surgery, but I was still deeply disheartened. When I told Jason about the diagnosis and the upcoming surgery and hospitalization, he barely glanced up from his phone and simply said, "I see." His indifferent reaction left me at a loss for words. I managed the housework and packed my belongings for the hospital up until the day before my admission. Meanwhile, Jason took Emily and went back to his parents' house, saying he would be working from there and wouldn't be home for a while. In fact, Jason brought up divorce just yesterday. He argued that it's not just about the surgery to remove the tumor, but also the ongoing treatment that would follow. He said the burden on me, Emily, and my parents is too much and suggested we end this burden. His words struck me deeply, and I was too exhausted to argue. After my discharge, I contacted my in-laws, and they pressured me to finalize the divorce. They told me, "We'll take Emily, just pay child support. Please expedite the divorce. Jason is sending the divorce papers and instructed me to sign them as soon as they arrive." I had hoped Jason would bring Emily back, but they have refused to send her home. I'm unsure if Jason is even at his parents' house, as he won't answer the phone. I was going about the housework in a daze, but something felt distinctly wrong. The mess was overwhelming, even for an empty house. Had Jason come back? As I cleaned his room, I stumbled upon a disturbing discovery: women's loungewear. My worst fears were confirmed. With trembling hands, I retrieved the brown envelope I had hidden in storage, the one containing the report from the private investigator I hired when I first suspected something was wrong. I had received the report a few days earlier but had been too afraid to look. Now, as I examined its contents, the results were even worse than I had imagined. The most devastating revelation was that Jason had been bringing his affair partner into our home. Feeling a mix of disgust and determination despite having just had surgery, I cleaned the entire house thoroughly. Eventually, I returned to work and was assigned to outpatient care, which was less physically demanding. Then one day, a significant incident occurred. Jason was involved in a traffic accident and was brought to the hospital where I worked. His affair partner was also in the ambulance with him. I rushed into the treatment room, my heart pounding. "I'm Jason's wife. Is he here?" I asked, causing a buzz among the staff. They had mistakenly believed that the two brought in were a married couple rather than an affair. "Wait, your husband? Then who was the woman earlier?" "Oh, she left. She had only a minor scratch and went home," they responded, while attending to Jason. "Okay, let's get you out of these clothes." As the nurses worked, Jason suddenly yelled, "Don't look, it's okay." Despite his protests, several nurses restrained him and removed his shirt and undershirt. My breath caught in my throat as I saw a tattoo on his chest, a heart pierced by an arrow with a woman's name. I was stunned, unable to believe what I was seeing. Leaving my husband, who was causing the commotion, I hurried out of the treatment room. I had confirmed that his condition wasn't life-threatening and wanted to avoid any further embarrassment. Jason was hospitalized with a broken clavicle and ribs. I got permission to go home and collect a change of clothes for him. A few hours later, I returned to his hospital room with his belongings, where I found him resting after treatment. My in-laws and daughter were also there. "Mommy, have you been good?" Emily asked. "Yes, I'm getting better," I replied, drawing strength from her concern. I informed my husband and in-laws that I needed to discuss something and asked a colleague to look after Emily. "I've decided to divorce Jason now," I announced. "What?" At a time like this, my mother-in-law protested. "It's better to address it sooner rather than later. I'll handle Emily," I said firmly. "What? Don't be ridiculous. We'll take care of Emily," she insisted. "Let me ask you this. Do you know where Emily likes to go the most? What vegetables she eats well? Her favorite character? You can't answer, can you? You haven't been spending time with her, have you? You've just been leaving everything to your parents, haven't you?" I handed the brown envelope to my father-in-law. As he reviewed its contents, my in-laws went pale but managed to maintain their composure. They must have already known about their son's affair. "I will take custody of our daughter," I declared firmly. "You two will not be involved with her ever again." "You can't just deny us access to her," my mother-in-law argued. "Jason has a tattoo of another woman's name and a heart on his chest. Is that the behavior of a suitable father?" I said, unmoved by their protests. My in-laws, seemingly unaware of the tattoo, were visibly shaken, but I continued without hesitation. "I brought up the disarray in the house and the women's loungewear I have found. It's absolutely unforgivable that he brought his affair partner into our home while I was hospitalized. I held them equally responsible for turning a blind eye to their son's actions and neglecting his daughter. I intend to fight for custody, demand child support, and seek alimony from both Jason and his affair partner," I stated resolutely. "I cannot entrust my daughter to a father who abandons her for an affair." My mother-in-law attempted to defend themselves, probably claiming they had been caring for Emily properly, but I ignored her. "If you want mediation or a court battle, go ahead. But be aware, it might become public knowledge that Jason's affair is the cause." The divorce was soon finalized, and I gained custody of Emily. We relocated to start fresh. It turns out Jason's affair was more complicated than initially known. It was a case of double adultery. He's now being sued for alimony by his affair partner's husband. In our small town, the gossip quickly spread, and Jason has found himself in an uncomfortable position at work. He can't resign due to the ongoing alimony and child support payments. Interestingly, since Jason had no savings, his father extended his retirement, and his mother took on a part-time job to help financially. "Since tomorrow is a day off, let's go out, Emily. Where would you like to go?" I asked. "I want to see the elephants," she replied excitedly. "Then let's head to the zoo and enjoy something delicious on the way back," I suggested. "Yay!" Emily cheered. "My health has improved, and I'm enjoying a peaceful life with my daughter."